Hey, Pete Winarski here, and I am just working at home. You can see, I haven't shaved in a couple days, and I'm just cranking away. So what I'm doing is I'm preparing for a keynote presentation up at a conference, and what they've asked me to talk about is the concept of lean transformation and how to actually be successful. Because I'm not sure if you're aware, but most transformations, lean or otherwise, most business transformations actually fail, and depending on the study you read, it's north of 70%, and some as high as 90%. Like 90% of the time you launch as a business leader, you get all excited and you declare, here's what we're going to go do. Here's the transformation we're going to make. We're leading a transformation. We're going to transform our business. And the odds are against you that it's going to just fall flat and not deliver the results that you look for. So they contacted me and said, hey, can you come talk about why this is, and what can you do about it? Now, what's interesting is one of the things I'll be talking about is lean. Obviously, the whole methods behind the Toyota production system, and how to eliminate waste and understand what's value add and not value add, and this whole set of principles and tools. I mean, that list is huge. What are those principles and tools behind lean that you go to streamline your operations, streamline your back office processes, connect everything together? There's a whole set of practices, and unfortunately, people think that a lean transformation is enough, because the definition of what people attribute to be a lean transformation is actually rather narrow. And I would suggest that what you're really looking is you're transforming your business, and lean practices and lean tools are just a subset. They're necessary, they're important, but for a lot of folks, lean has become a buzzword to the point that people don't really understand what lean is, what it's all about, why you would do it in the first place. They think, well, we run Kaizen events, we must be lean. And no. There's so much more to it than that. In fact, David Tweet and I'm, so as the two partners of Win Enterprises, we went in to a client recently, and we do this quite a bit. We run into situations where the client, someone invites us in to take a look, right? And they are all excited. It's like, yes, we've been practicing lean for 5 years, for 10 years, whatever. And then when we get there, we're like, without being rude, it's like, no, you haven't, right? Or we're already lean. No, you're not. So this sort of thing does happen quite a bit. People think because they have followed some Kaizen events, they did standard work, they did 5S, they whatever, and it's very tools based in the mistakes that they make in this, and as a result, their business hasn't really transformed. So what are the results before and after? So that's kind of a big deal. So I'm kind of setting up. These are the things that I'm working through and thinking about as I'm preparing for this this keynote tomorrow. It's at East Tech, which is part of the big machining and equipment based conference, which is pretty cool because there's big honking pieces of equipment, things that weld or cut, or robot arms and automation and technology that can help you to see what you can't see with optic systems and all these really cool high-tech things. So it's actually a really good topic for this type of a conference, because a lot of people think, well, if I go spend 10 or 20 or $100,000 on this big honking piece of equipment, that will enable me to do something differently that transforms my capabilities. And it could be part of the solution. Obviously every situation you have to handle it uniquely. You can't just assume that, all right, I'm going to go install robots and therefore expect productivity gains, and therefore I'm better off. That could be part of an answer, but it's a much, much bigger question than just diving in and doing that sort of thing. So I actually like walking. I like walking the floor of these things. FabTech is another big one. It's the same organization, by the way, just East Tech is here in the East. This is Springfield, Massachusetts. Fab tech tends to bounce between Chicago and Atlanta and Las Vegas, year to year. So I've been, a guest speaker at the Fab Tech conference over the last, I guess, 3 or 4 years now. We're going again into Chicago again in November. So we've gone to Vegas, Chicago, Atlanta, now back to Chicago, and I think Vegas next year. So the same basic idea where there's this, how do you improve your business, improve your operations, and they're handling it from a more manufacturing engineering standpoint, right? So how do you improve with some high tech solutions? And my perspective is high tech can be part of the answer. You just want to make sure you step back from a business transformation standpoint and take a look at what's the bigger set of objectives that you have. What is it you're trying to do? And how do you make sure that you have a complete solution and you're investing in the right places with high return on investment, creating, my language here, a system, a production system is sort of the Toyota production system language and way to think about it, right? How does it fit into the system that you're creating? So those are some things to think about, and those are things I'm thinking about, as we get into this conversation tomorrow. So East Tech tomorrow, if you happen to be in West Springfield, Massachusetts, then come on aboard. And if not, we'll have other videos like this that I'll create that kind of talk through the principles of what we were doing there. One of the things that I will be talking about is the fact that there are a bunch of mistakes, business transformation mistakes. And, obviously when, one of those, which I don't actually think is on our list, we have a top 10 list, is, announcing in a big way, we're going to transform, because, you're probably messing it up if you are Yahoo, let's do a transformation. Let's think about it this way. You transform your company, yourself, and your results. All three are necessary, right? So it's a verb, transform. It's not, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go do a transformation. I'm going to press a magic button and boom, ta-da, things will be different after that. Because what really has to happen is, in order to transform your business, there's a lot of personal change in addition to the systems and processes being studied and changed and optimized and maybe done totally different than ever. The reality is, you as an individual person, you're going to change through this experience of changing your company, right? The end result is you want your business results to excel, to take off, to just literally be different. And yes, you might experience huge improvements in productivity or quality or delivery as a result. So are you transforming, verb, because you are playing defense or offense? Defense is, customers are mad at us. We have a burning platform. We're losing share. We're in trouble. Our costs are out of control because we're constantly fixing things that aren't working, right? That would be a case of playing defense and transforming out of necessity, like, oh crap, we're in trouble. Versus, are you transforming? Are you on this quest to stay ahead of everyone else, to be better, to just always, from a sense of continuous improvement? And this is another thing that has been commoditized in our language. Oh yes, we follow continuous improvement practices. Okay, but your business kind of doesn't really look that different. And what are the strategies and what's everyone else doing? Because of course the risk these days is, there's somebody who's going to totally disrupt your industry and do things differently than you've considered doing. And they come in and all of a sudden that's the better answer and you become obsolete, right? So, think of what Uber did to taxi drivers, right? It's a disruption. And all of a sudden there's a solution that is different than calling for the taxi company to come pick you up or to stand on the curb and wave your hand, taxi, right? Just like I'm thinking of Danny DeVito and Jim Reverend Jim from Taxi and all these others, right? If you remember that program for years and years ago. Okay, yeah, got a little gray hair. I'm dating myself, but nonetheless, the idea of this, things happen over time, right? Companies evolve, ideas evolve. I mean, look what Amazon is doing right now. They just announced, hey, Amazon employees, here's a $10,000 bonus if you decide to quit working for us and start a delivery company delivering Amazon products. Like, holy crap, right? Wow, that is so unique and different. And what they're doing is they're trying to obsolete having to use external delivery people or external delivery sources like UPS, the United States Postal Service, right? Like, how do we not rely on them and instead really start to insource and create this network of people who can do this for us, right? Totally different thinking. So, we've actually had people show up in an unmarked van, show up on our driveway. We're like, wait, who's this? Who's visiting us? And it's a delivery guy, right? He shows up with our boxes of stuff. He's got his, whatever equipment that he requires to scan, and he's done the delivery. They take a photo of the box, on the front porch, right on the steps. And these are things that are new and different. And obviously technology enables some of these things. But what if that was you were a competitor and all of a sudden you're like, man, someone else is doing these things. Now I'm playing defense again, right? Back to, are you making business changes offensively or defensively? So now you're back playing defense. Now you're like, I have to react because they're doing this better. They're offering order to delivery in one day, Amazon in this case, with their Prime service. It's been 2-day delivery, which has been pretty awesome. I admit I order, I just click, go to Amazon.com for a lot of things rather than inconveniencing myself by having to stop at the department store, stop at the whatever, right? Who wants to go to the store? Who goes to the mall anymore? I mean, the poor shopping malls, right? That they have to think differently about the experience they're giving to people, to show up, because it's so convenient to click away online. Amazon built the relationship with me, with their customers, with their Prime customers, and now they're saying 1-day delivery. I mean, how awesome is that? And you probably read, they've been experimenting with, can we use drones to do the delivery? Now, naturally, there's a bunch of problems to solve along that. And sometimes when you are going from where you are today to some other new plan, implementing strategies, transforming your company, back to the verb, yes, something like a drone doing deliveries so that you don't have a human being that has to drive a car or a van, with the labor associated with that, the fuel costs associated. I mean, there's a whole lot of interesting dynamics here. Can they pull it off? I don't know. There's, things flying in the air. There's rules and regulations about that. You obviously have to, have, even if it's programmed, you watch out for the wires, watch out for other things that fly. The FAA gets involved. And so I don't know what the solution is going to be, but what I'm illustrating is sometimes as you think progressively, new problems to solve come up. It's just a problem. It's just a hurdle. And if you can figure that out, and you've gone through the exercise to figure it out, think of the competitive advantage that you now have. So anyway, I just dove a little bit deep into Amazon there for a second, just coming at it from the place of offense versus defense. I mean, they're doing that because they're in the driver's seat and they're thinking, well, what else can we do? Defense would be, let's say you are a local delivery service and you've been cut out of the equation. All of a sudden it's like, we just lost a bunch of business because Amazon went and insourced by hiring or contracting with their people to do this differently. Like, whoa, right? So offense versus defense. So anyway, that's a concept that certainly, I'm not sure exactly if I'll talk about that specifically, tomorrow, but the idea is certainly an active one when it comes to transformation. And then what do you go and do about it? How do you think differently is important. How do you, do the diagnostic of your business in the first place to know, are we okay? what needs to change? What are our potentials? You know, how great could we become, right? So thinking about it that way is really, really important. And there's, I just said transformation, use it as a verb, transform, as opposed to a noun, transformation. But the reality is, once you are into it, you are doing a transformation. I'm just cautioning you on, chest pounding and saying, yay, we're doing a transformation and therefore we'll be better. And the reality is you better be transforming. You are 100% of the time, year over year over year, you have to be in a transformation. It may not be anything labeled or special. My caution to you is when you do that, sometimes you don't do the actions required to back it up. And the actions required need to be integrated and holistic. And if you only do a little bit of it, like if you only implement some lean tools and do a handful of Kaizen events and you don't address all of the other things that are required to be successful, you're going to fall flat. You will be that statistic. Look, only 10% of transformations, 10 to 30, if you believe the statistics of greater than 70% fail, 70 to 90% fail, the chances are against you that you're going to succeed. So you got to make sure you're not making these mistakes and you're thinking about it holistically. And the other thing is what we call the transformation curve. There's various points, where are you on that curve? And depending on where you are on the curve, suggests what your next steps ought to be. So, there's a lot of dimensions to this, folks. That's really the bottom line point. And, the personal journey for you and for your leaders, the burden is enormous. The amount of stress and overwhelm and frustration, it's huge. And it's not easy to work through, and just working harder, working more hours isn't the solution. It's like, how would you like to live your life with a migraine every single day because holy crap, I got so much weight in my shoulder. Sorry for keep saying the word crap. It's a point of emphasis, right? But I think, the point really is, this is kind of unfair to you. And if you're the boss and you're making these decisions of what strategies to go after, where do you invest? What kind of help do you bring in? How do you help your leaders? Don't forget about your leaders. The leaders making decisions, and then the people doing the work. So you have your team and your leaders. So I'll be diving into that a little bit in this keynote as well. So anyway, I'm excited about all this. It's on my mind. I've been thinking about it, and I therefore wanted to just do a quick share. Partly because the house is quiet, right? Nobody's in the house right now. I actually have the dog in the other room, and he must be sleeping. So I seized the opportunity, take a couple minutes, shot this video, and look for more, because I'll be telling you a lot more about these same topics. Hope everyone's great, and come on by to completebusinesstransformation.com. There's the noun transformation, but completebusinesstransformation.com, because it is a complete exercise, not a little sliver slice exercise. We'll see you soon. Catch you again.